Chapter 3. That night, Fred came over and I showed off my new mirror and dresser. Fred wasn't real impressed. At least you got rid of the baby dresser, he said, but this thing is kind of a wreck, isn't it? Yeah, some of the drawers are stuck, but that's okay. Dad and I are going to sand the dresser down and paint it, I told him. I couldn't help glancing at the new mirror. I smiled at myself and saw something green stuck to my front tooth. I rubbed it off. Cool mirror, huh? I said. I liked the way it reflected my WWF posters. It made my room look twice as big with posters all around. Did you watch a wrestling show on cable last night? Fred asked. Of course, I replied. Wasn't that awesome when they all started fighting in the audience? And then those two geeks from the audience tried to get into the fight? Fred laughed his high giggle. When he laughed, his eyes always closed, and his skinny shoulders bounced up and down. We sat down in front of the old TV that my video game player was hooked up to. I turned my back to the new mirror so that I wouldn't be distracted by it. We started to play an NBA basketball game. The sad thing was, Fred was as bad at video basketball as he was at real basketball. I enjoyed playing with him, but it was never much of a contest. I always won, usually by at least 30 points. The game is really fast, just like a regular basketball game. You gotta move your players down the floor, shoot fast, go up for rebounds, play a lot of defense. We were punching our controllers hard, using both hands. Shoot! Shoot! I cried to Fred. His thumb attacked the shoot button on his controller. On the screen, his player heaved the ball over the basket, out of the court. Air ball, Fred groaned. Just like in real life. Go for the steal, I told him. Move that way! That way! I was always trying to help him, trying to make him better at it so that our games would be closer. I hit the controller frantically, stole the ball from Fred's player, dribbled down the floor, and sank an easy layup. The crowd on the screen cheered. The score changed. Fred, it's your ball, I said. Hey! Fred was staring over my shoulder. What's wrong? I asked. Sorry. He returned his eyes to the TV screen and began pushing buttons. But I saw that he kept glancing toward the mirror. Finally, I pushed pause. The game was nearly over anyway. The score was 60-24. Guess whose favor? I set my controller on the carpet in front of me. Fred, what's wrong? The mirror, he said softly. I turned. What about it? I saw something moving in there. I frowned at him. You mean like one of us? Fred shook his head. No, something else. It was weird. I stared into the mirror. My reflection stared back. On the floor beside me, I could see Fred, his tiny blue eyes frightened. You're crazy, I said. It's just us. What are we moving in the mirror? Fred shrugged. Beats me. The phone rang. It was Fred's mom. He had to go home. I followed him downstairs and closed the door after him. It had started to rain, but he didn't have far to go. Fred lives on the next block. I went to the kitchen and collected a handful of Oreos and a Coke, then made my way back to my room. I planned to play another basketball game, this time against the machine. The machine was better than Fred. In fact, it was too good, I could seldom beat it. I set down the cookies and the can of soda. Then I spotted something on the floor in front of the mirror. I bent down and picked it up. A piece of paper, folded up. It was yellow and stained and felt crinkly, as if it were really old. I unfolded it carefully and found a note inside. A note written in black ink in old-fashioned looking fancy handwriting. Holding it close to my face, I read it out loud. Beware. Bring this into your house, and you bring death.